At 4:58 in the morning, Marcus Reed stared at the ceiling. The alarm hadn't gone off yet, but his mind was already a traffic jam of thoughts he didn't want to face. Another day. Same job. Same silence. At 31, Marcus felt like life was a movie he was watching from the sidelines, not a story he was a part of. He lived in a small apartment just outside Cleveland, nothing special, beige walls, old carpet, and a second-hand couch he'd bought thinking friends would visit more often. They didn't. Marcus worked at a warehouse, loading, scanning, lifting. It was honest work, hard work, but it wasn't his work. He used to have dreams, big ones. Dreams of building something that mattered, something more than being the reliable guy on shift 3. But dreams have a funny way of going quiet when the bills get loud. The thing is, Marcus wasn't a failure, and that's what made it so much worse. He was always almost successful. He almost finished college. He almost started that business. He was almost confident enough to take the big risks. People would tell him, "You've got so much potential." Marcus hated that word. Potential felt like a compliment with an expiration date. That morning, as the alarm finally blared, Marcus sat up and whispered something he had never admitted out loud. "I am tired of being invisible to my own life." On his way to work, he stopped for his usual coffee. The cashier, a young woman probably in her early 20s, smiled and asked, "Long night?" Marcus just nodded. "Feels like a long life." She let out a soft laugh, then paused, looking at him for a second. "You know," she said, "my dad used to say that if you hate waking up, it's not the morning's fault." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" She handed him the coffee. "It means something in your life is asking for a change." Then she added, "That one's on the house." Marcus walked out, a little confused, but for the first time in a long time, he was really thinking. That night, after his shift, he did something different. He didn't turn on the TV. Instead, he sat at his small kitchen table with a notebook he'd owned for years but never used. On the very first page, his hand shaking, he wrote, "What would I do if I wasn't afraid of failing again?" And then, the words started to flow. He wrote about an idea he had buried years ago, creating short, motivational videos. Not for the gurus, not for the already successful, but for people like him, the ones who felt stuck, tired, and overlooked. He wouldn't offer flashy, fake positivity, just honest stories. He knew pain. He knew what doubt felt like. He thought, maybe, just maybe, that was enough. He made a promise to himself right then and there. 30 days. One video a day. No excuses. It was a secret contract, just for him. No one else needed to know. The first few days were brutal. The first video took him 3 hours to film. The lighting was all wrong, his voice was shaky, and the editing was clumsy. It got a grand total of 14 views. Marcus felt that familiar sting of embarrassment, but mostly, he was embarrassed for even caring. The second video got 9 views, the third, 22. By day 7, that old, familiar voice in his head was back, louder than ever. "This isn't working. You're not good enough. Who do you think you are to be doing this?" He almost quit. He was so close, but then a different voice, a quieter one from deep inside, whispered back, "Just finish what you started." So he did. He kept recording after work, exhausted, sweaty, but completely honest. He spoke to the camera like it was a friend who understood him, someone who wouldn't judge. No filters, no fake smiles, just his truth. Then came day 16. Day 16 was a disaster. Marcus got written up at work for a minor mistake. On the way home, his old car wouldn't start. When he finally got back to his apartment, he checked his bank account and saw it had dipped below his comfort zone. He just sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the blank wall. "I should stop," he said out loud to the empty room. "This is childish." He reached for his phone, his thumb hovering over the delete button, ready to erase his entire channel, to erase this foolish experiment. But then, a notification popped up, a direct message from someone he didn't know. He opened it. The message read, "I'm a single mom. Your video yesterday stopped me from giving up tonight. Thank you." Marcus dropped his phone. His chest tightened, and his eyes started to burn. For the first time in years, Marcus cried. But these weren't tears of frustration or sadness. They were tears of meaning. He had connected with someone. He wasn't invisible anymore. After that night, nothing exploded. He didn't go viral. There were no headlines. But something inside him had fundamentally shifted. Marcus started waking up not with dread, but with purpose. It wasn't happiness, not yet, but it was something far more powerful. It was purpose. By day 30, his channel had 1,200 subscribers. Not a massive number in the grand scheme of the internet, but to Marcus, it was a universe. It was a community. People were commenting, sharing their own stories, and waiting for his uploads. He was no longer just talking into a void. 3 months later, a small life coaching company reached out. They sent him an email that said, "We love your authenticity. We see what you're doing. Would you be interested in a collaboration?" The pay was less than his warehouse job, but it was more than money. It was belief. It was a validation of his voice. 6 months after that, Marcus was working part-time online, creating content and connecting with his community. And a year after that first shaky video, he walked out of the warehouse for the last time. He didn't quit because he had made it in the traditional sense. He quit because he had finally made himself a priority. Marcus didn't become a millionaire. He didn't become famous. He didn't magically escape struggle or bad days, but he stopped running from himself. He started participating in his own life, and that changed everything, because the most powerful moment in life isn't when the world finally believes in you. It's when you finally, truly, believe in yourself. So, if you're listening to this right now and you feel tired, or stuck, or unseen, listen carefully. Your life isn't asking you for perfection. It's just asking for your participation. It's asking you to show up. Choose yourself. Start today. Start messy. Start scared. Just start. Even if no one is clapping for you yet. The most important applause will come from within. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing. We're building something honest here, together.